All right, guys, we're going to talk about histograms today. So be following along with me in your notes. At the top here, a histogram is a bar graph that shows the frequency of data values in intervals of the same size. So an interval is just how you're separating each of the bars on your histogram. The height of the bar represents the frequency, underline that word for me, frequency of the data. Frequency means how many data values fall in this interval. The histogram does not give individual data values, therefore it is not possible to find measures of center or range. So we cannot find mean, median, and mode or range from a histogram. Okay, looking at these first few questions. The histogram above shows the ages of the employees at a certain company. Use the histogram to answer the questions below. How many employees are there? So frequency just represents how many of each data point there is. So in this first interval, we have 8 people. In the second interval, we have, looks like it's going up by 2, so 8, 10, 12, 14 people. In the third interval, we have 18 people. In the fourth interval, we have 12 people. And in the fifth interval, we have 6 people. Last interval, we have 2 people. Okay? So 8 plus 4, 18, 12, 6, 2, add those all together. You can use your calculator if you need to, but that is going to give us 60 total people. Letter B, how many employees are at most 40 years old? So at most, that means we can have no more than 40. So we're going to be looking at these first 2 intervals. So 18 plus 14 is going to give us 22 people. Letter C, which interval contains the most employees? So the most, that's kind of similar to the mode. Which interval it has the most is our third interval. We're going to say 41 to 50. And letter D, what percent of the employees are over 60 years old? So over 60, we're going to have these last 2 intervals. 6 plus 2 is 8, but it's asking for the percentage. So to find the percent, if it's 8 people are over 60 years old, we're going to take 8 out of our total amount of 60 people, and we're going to divide that, and we're going to get 0.133 repeating. To change that to a percent, we're going to times it by 100, so that moves the decimal over twice, so we're going to have 13.3 repeating percent. So we're going to say 8 or 13.3 repeating percent. Okay, second example. This is talking about history test scores. So letter A, how many students scored between 61 and 70? So look at the interval, 61 to 70. This is going up just by 1, so this is 3 people scored between 61 and 70. Second question, how many students scored below 81? So 81 and below, that's these first 3 intervals. This interval had 3 people. This first interval has 1 person. This third interval has 6 people. So 6 plus 3 plus 1 gives just 10 people. All right, letter C. Which interval contained the fewest scores? Okay, well, the fewest scores is the smallest interval, so that is our 51 to 60 interval. All right, letter D. What percent of the students, so again, we're finding that percent, what percent of the students scored between 71 and 100? Now, 71 and 100 is this interval, this interval, and this interval. So we have 6 plus, this interval has 10 people, this interval has 8 people. So 6 plus 10 plus 8 is going to give us, let's see, 18, 24, I believe. Okay, but it's asking for percent. So on your calculator, we'll show our work over here again. 24 out of how many is our total? So we have 10 plus 8 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1. That is a total of 28 people. Okay. All right, so we're going to do 24 divided by 28. And we're going to get 0.857 times it by 100. Oh, before we do that, we're going to round it to the hundredths. So if we round it to the hundredths, that 7 is going to bring it up to 0.86. Now we're going to times it by 100, and we're going to get 86%. So this is 24 people between 71 and 100, or 86%. All right, last question. What was the highest score on the test? So remember, we can't tell what the data is because we don't have we don't have a list of data. So it says there's 8 people who scored between 91 and 100. So that means there was a possible 100, but we can't tell that for sure. So what was the highest score? We're just going to have to put that range, 91 to 100. It's somewhere in between that interval. Okay? All right, flip your paper over. I'm going to do one more problem with you. Okay, number 1 on the back. We have text messaging sent. You guys are used to that. You probably send way more than these people do. All right, letter A. All right, let's start by saying how many is in each of our intervals. So first interval, 0 to 9, we have, let's see, it looks like they're going up by 5, so this is going to be 15. Second interval, 10 to 19 text messages. That's going to be 25 in that interval. Third interval, 20 to 29, there are 45 text messages. Interval 30 to 39, 50 text messages. Interval 40 to 49, 30 text messages. And last interval, 50 to 59 text messages is, let's see, 15 again. Okay, so 15 people sent between 50 and 59 text messages. I bet you guys are probably saying I send over 100 text messages every day, and I can believe that. Okay, here we go. How many students sent between 10 and 19 text messages in this data? So between 10 and 19. So that's just one interval, so that's just 25 students, 25 people. Okay, how many students sent more than 29 text messages? So we want more than 29, so we're going to have these last 3 intervals. So 50 plus 30 plus 15 gives us a total of 95 people. Okay, letter C. Which interval contained the fewest text messages? So again, that's our lowest bar. Now we don't have the lowest one. These last two, first and last interval, are the same. So we're going to say both. Interval 0 to 9 and interval 50 to 59. All right, last question. What percent, so we got to find the percent again, of the students sent between 40 and 59 text messages? So between 40 and 59, so that covers 2 intervals. So that's 30 plus 15 equals 45. Now we forgot to find our total, so the total amount, we're going to add those up on our calculator. 15 plus 25 plus 45 plus 50 plus 30 plus 15. We're going to get a total of 180. So over here, 45 divided by 180 equals, let me do the math, we got 0.25. Change that to a percentage. That's going to be 25%. Okay? All right, you guys are going to work through the next two problems on this page, and then you're going to get the next worksheets from the substitute. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.